A Brief History of Epistemology, selected from Wikipedia. An anasis, or the doctrine of recollection, is a concept in Plato's epistemological and psychological theory that he develops in its dialogues Meno and Phaedo. The idea is that humans possess innate knowledge, perhaps acquired before birth, and that learning consists of rediscovering that knowledge from within. Knowledge of universal truths is regained through the use of reason, contemplating things with the soul. Aristotle's theory of universals, knowledge of the universals, is not obtained from a supernatural source. It is obtained from experience by means of active intellect. They can be identified in the types, properties, or relations observed in the world. For example, imagine there is a bowl of red apples resting on a table. Each apple in that bowl will have many similar qualities, such as their red coloring or redness. They will share some degree of the quality of ripeness depending on their age, but they will all share a universal appleness. These qualities are the universals that the apples hold in common. According to divine illumination, the process of human thought needs to be aided by divine grace. It is the oldest and most influential alternative to naturalism in the theory of mind and epistemology. The early Christian philosopher Augustine emphasized the role of divine illumination in our thought, saying that the mind needs to be enlightened by light from outside itself. God does not give us certain information, but rather gives us insight into the truth of the information we received for ourselves. Emanationism is an idea in the cosmology of certain religious or philosophical systems. Emanation is the mode by which all things are derived from the first reality, or principle. All things are derived from the first reality or perfect God by steps of degradation. At every step the emanating beings are less pure, less perfect, less divine. The primary classical exponent of emanationism was the Neoplatonic philosopher Plotinus, who described all things phenomenal as an emanation from the One. Scholasticism is a method of learning using dialectical reasoning to extend knowledge by inference and to resolve contradictions. Scholastic thought is also known for rigorous conceptual analysis and the careful drawing of distinctions. It began as an attempt to harmonize the various authorities from Christian theology with classical philosophy, especially that of Aristotle, but also of Neoplatonism. The Baconian method is the investigative method developed by Sir Francis Bacon, one of the founders of modern science, and thus the first formulation of a modern scientific method. The method was supposed to replace the methods put forward by Aristotle. Bacon's method was influential upon the development of the scientific method, but also more generally in the early modern rejection of medieval Aristotelianism. Rationalism is the epistemological view that regards reason as the chief source and test of knowledge, or any view appealing to reason as a source of knowledge or justification. More formally, rationalism is defined as a methodology, or a theory in which the criterion of the truth is not sensory, but intellectual and deductive. Empiricism is a theory that states that knowledge comes only or primarily from sensory experience. Empiricism emphasizes the role of empirical evidence in the formation of ideas, rather than innate ideas or traditions. However, empiricists may argue that traditions arise due to relations of previous sense experiences. Transcendental idealism is a philosophical system founded by Immanuel Kant. By transcendental, Kant means that his philosophical approach to knowledge transcends mere consideration of sensory evidence, and requires an understanding of the mind's innate modes of processing that sensory evidence. Thus Kant's doctrine restricts the scope of our cognition to appearances given to our sensibility and denies that we can possess cognition of things as they are in themselves. Willard Van Orman Quine, for any collection of empirical evidence, there would always be many theories able to account for it. This underdetermination applies to all of human knowledge. Thus, While it is possible to verify or falsify whole theories, it is not possible to verify or falsify individual statements. Almost any particular statement can be saved, given sufficiently radical modifications of the containing theory. For Quine, scientific thought forms a coherent web in which any part could be altered in the light of empirical evidence, and in which no empirical evidence could force the revision of a given part. Standpoint theory supports what feminist theorist Sandra Harding calls strong objectivity, or the notion that the perspectives of marginalized and/or oppressed individuals can help to create more objective accounts of the world. Through the outside or within phenomenon, these individuals are placed in a unique position to point to patterns of behavior that those immersed in the dominant group culture are unable to recognize. The goal of postmodern feminism is to destabilize the patriarchal norms entrenched in society that have led to gender inequality, through rejecting essentialism, philosophy, and universal truth, because it minimizes individual experience. Hence they warn women to be aware of ideas displayed as the norm in society, since may stem from masculine notions